Imagine this. You suddenly receive a large amount of money, not income, not salary, a lump, a bonus, an inheritance, or the cash from selling a small business. For a brief moment, it feels like freedom. And then it hits. Silence. Because now there's a decision in front of you that feels heavier than the money itself. Do you invest everything right now, today, in one decisive move? Or do you slow down, break it into pieces, spread it across the next year, month by month? On paper, this shouldn't be hard. The math exists, the data exists. But this isn't a math problem. This is a fear problem. This is the moment where logic steps aside and instinct takes the wheel. You don't ask, what has the highest expected return? You ask, what hurts the least if I'm wrong? So you search for advice, and almost everywhere you look, you hear the same answer. Be careful. Don't rush. Use dollar cost averaging. They say it lowers emotional stress, that it protects you from bad timing, that it keeps you from investing right before a crash. And after hearing it enough times, that advice stops sounding like an option. It turns into a rule designed to make you feel safe, a financial security blanket for people who are terrified of regret. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That feeling of safety is not free. It has a price, and that price isn't paid up front. It's paid quietly, over time. In returns you never see, in compounding that never starts, in opportunities that pass while you're waiting. If you're someone who freezes at the thought of investing at the wrong time, this is where the story gets uncomfortable. Because the market doesn't punish fear randomly. It punishes hesitation. When people recommend dollar cost averaging, they're not talking about returns. They're talking about feelings. DCA doesn't promise better outcomes. It promises emotional relief. It tells you, you didn't go all in at the top. You didn't make a big mistake. You played it safe. But safety in markets is rarely what it sounds like, because while you feel protected, your money is quietly falling behind. Historical data is brutal on this point. When a large amount of money is invested all at once, lump sum investing beats dollar cost averaging roughly 70% of the time. Not because investors are smart, not because timing is perfect, but because markets have a bias. They move upward more often than they move down. So every month you delay, you're making a silent bet. A bet that the market will fall soon. A bet the data says loses most of the time. And here's the part most people miss. When you choose DCA, you're not reducing risk. You're just choosing a different one. You're choosing to keep your capital in cash, on the sidelines, out of the game. And cash has an enemy that never sleeps. Inflation. It doesn't crash. It doesn't make headlines. It just erodes, slowly, quietly, relentlessly. While you're waiting for the right time, your money is already losing purchasing power. That's the trade DCA makes. Less emotional pain today in exchange for weaker compounding tomorrow. And compounding isn't a bonus. It's the entire game. Delay it long enough, and no amount of safety will bring it back. Historically, markets rise far more often than they fall. Not sometimes, not recently. Over nearly a century of data, roughly 3 out of every 4 years, the market ends higher than it began. This single fact changes everything. Because if markets spend most of their time going up, then waiting isn't neutral. Waiting is a position, and it's usually the wrong one. Your money has a superpower, not intelligence, not prediction, not perfect timing. Time. Time is what activates compounding. Time is what allows small gains to stack into large ones. Time is the force that turns patience into profit. But when you dollar cost average a large sum, you deliberately cut that time short. You don't give your money years to work. You drip feed it months at a time. And every dollar still sitting in cash is a dollar that isn't compounding. So yes, you avoided a small short-term sting. You avoided the discomfort of being wrong for a moment. But in doing so, you locked in a long-term disadvantage. Not emotionally, mathematically, because compounding doesn't forgive delays. It doesn't catch up later. It doesn't pause and restart. Lost time is gone forever. And this is why the safe choice so often produces the weaker result. Yes, dollar cost averaging helps if the market crashes immediately. It softens the first punch. It protects your emotions. But history doesn't stop at the first year. And by year 5, something important usually happens. The lump sum investor catches up and often pulls ahead. Why? Because discipline beats comfort. This was never about finding a perfect rule. It was about knowing where your money belongs. Short-term money needs certainty. That stays in cash. Long-term money needs exposure. That belongs in the market, early. And if investing everything at once makes your chest tighten, don't freeze. Compromise intelligently. Put half the money to work immediately. Let time start compounding. Then deploy the rest over the next 2 or 3 months, not years. Not slowly, not emotionally. The goal isn't to feel safe. The goal is to keep your mathematical edge. The market does not reward safety. It punishes hesitation. It doesn't care how careful you were. It only tracks one thing: participation. Money that waits earns nothing. Money that participates compounds. If this capital is not meant for next year, if it's not meant for emergencies, if you know logically you won't touch it for the next 10 years, then your responsibility is clear. That money must be put to work immediately. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but decisively. Because every day you wait, the market has another chance to move without you. Discipline is not avoiding risk. Discipline is choosing the risk that actually pays. If you enjoyed this video, please like it to support us. Watching on YouTube? Subscribe to the channel. Watching on Facebook? Follow our page so you never miss our upcoming videos. Until next time, take care.